Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how to dissolve all forms of lack and a powerful meditation. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I was going back and forth with some comments on the channel yesterday with a few of you talking about this idea of letting go. And some of you asked, well, how do I let go? Right? And really how we let go is by accepting and embracing the current 3D reality, then moving to that new reality. That's how you let the other one go, by moving to the new reality. But you can't move to the new reality by rejecting and resisting the current one you're in. So I really want to hit this idea of letting go and what it really means. And when you do this, how you dissolve lack in the process. Right? Because anytime we want to hold on to anything, it implies lack. It implies fear that we're going to lose something or not have something or not gain something. It all implies the feeling of lack. So let's hit this, right? Here's what I want to really say. This is a big point. Letting go is an act of love. Right? It's a lack of wholeness and fulfillment because it means you have it to let go. It means you're so comfortable in who you really are that you can let that go because you know we're all one, that you never lose anything. That's impossible to lose anything. You can only let go of the resistance. You can only let go of the feeling of lack. That's the only thing you're really letting go. Hear this, right? Trying to hold on to something out of fear implies it's not yours. Letting go something out of love means it's yours to let go, right? But trying to hold on to something is fearing that you will lose it and never have it. And really, what I want to say is sometimes we feel like if we let go of everything, that we have nothing to hold on to, that we can't identify with anything. So here's what I want to really say. If you're going to hold on to anything, if you're going to identify with anything, hold on to the thought of God. Hold on to love. Love in the purest sense, a love that has no opposite, right? Not the fear-based love. Right? I love you but you've got to love me back. Not that. The pure thought of God, a pure love, right? Hold on to your divine nature, right? Hold on to the spiritual idea that you lack nothing. Hold on to love. When you hold on to this divinity, when you hold on to this thought of God, then when you do, you naturally let go of anything that is unlike love. Hear this. This is how you let go. You hold on to love because when you do, the natural effect is that you let go of everything that is unlove. They can't occupy the same thought. They can't occupy you can't have a thought of love, pure love, and a thought of unloving things at the same time, right? So when you let go of anything, when you hold on to love or the thought of God or your divine nature or that spiritual idea that you lack nothing, then you naturally let go of anything that's unlike love and the world comes to you. Everything then comes to you. All those pent-up desires that you've been resisting and waiting for and expecting but not giving them room, right? And really, letting go is the ultimate act of love, or it's the ultimate act of receiving and allowing the good to come to you. You're now making space for it. You can't make space or room for your desires when you're trying to hold on to them. Hear this. This is big. You're trying to hold on to the idea of your desires. You're not making room for them to come to you because you're holding on to the idea that you don't have them. Hear this, okay? So let's unpack this a little bit more. This is big today. Lack implies that you would be, this is what A Course in Miracles says, and I've talked about this in other lessons, but I really want to hit it in a different way today. Lack implies that you would be better off in a state somehow different from the one you are in. That's lack. It's a beautiful definition. You lack nothing. You're one with God at any moment. When you're thinking lack, or that you think you don't have something, or you think you're waiting for something, you're out of the present moment. You're forgetting who you are. There's only that present moment, and that present moment, that connection to God. And when you're in that full moment, you lack nothing, right? Wow. All forms of lack are illusions. All forms of lack stem from the bogus belief that you are somehow, or you can be somehow separate from God. The bogus belief that you can be separate from Source or the infinite intelligence, all that is. That's the belief, right? So God is love. Love is all that is, right? The law of God is the law of love. That's the truth. It's eternal. It's complete. It's unlimited. It's unchanging. It's beyond time and space. There's no opposite. Love is incapable of asking for anything. This is what A Course in Miracles says. So if you want something to hold on to the thought of God. Hold on to the thought of love. Then you automatically let go of everything that's unlike love. Hear this, right? When you do this, then it doesn't matter whatever the form of lack that you believe you have, whether you feel you don't have financial abundance, whether you don't feel like you have SP in your life or love in your life, whatever that form of lack is, it all is let go in that one moment, right? Because all lack's the same. It doesn't matter what forms it takes. It's all the same. It's all in a belief that you're separate from God or separate from infinite intelligence or separate from infinity or all that is. That's all the lack is. All other things are forms of it. So when you do this, when you become one with that God, when you hold on to the thought of God or hold on to love, then you must let go of everything that's unlike love. That's powerful. So let's unpack this a little bit more. And then it says in Scripture, the ancients said it, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, this he will also reap. Now, a lot read into that as a warning. God's warning you, right? A scary warning to, be careful what you're thinking. Be careful what you do, because if you do bad things or think bad things, that's what you're going to reap. That's not what God's trying to say here. Although that is true, that whatever you think, feel, and believe, you will manifest. But it's not it wasn't meant to be a warning to scare you. It was meant to say, it's meant to be a reassurance, as A Course in Miracles says. This is not a warning, but a reassurance. A reassurance that God would be mocked if you weren't whole, complete, perfect, and unlimited every way. Then God would be mocked. It's telling you, it's reassuring you that you are God, hear this, and that you can be, do, or have whatever your heart desires. Whatever you think, feel, and believe is yours. It's a reinsurance. It's a celebration, right? Because God would be mocked if you weren't whole. God would be mocked if you weren't complete. God would be mocked if you weren't perfect and unlimited in every way, right? God would be mocked if all things weren't not possible. All things are possible with God, but if they weren't, then God would be mocked. You hear this, right? God would be mocked if you could not be, do, or have whatever your heart desires, right? God would be mocked if everything you desired and wished for weren't already yours. Hear this. That's where God would be mocked. If your desires weren't already yours, if all that you wish for and hope for in your life weren't already yours, weren't already your inheritance, your gift, and you need only to allow it and let go of those unloving thoughts and that lack, then it all would be added on to you. That's why. That's the word. So it's not a warning, it's a reinsurance, right? That God will be mocked. So let's hit this a little bit more. So I would say often, think like God, but I even want to go further today with this. I just want to say, think God. In the beginning, God. Right? And then even Jesus, that's in the Old Testament, and in the New Testament, what does Jesus say? Jesus says, I am the way, I am the life, I am the resurrection, right? I am the truth. Think God. Not even like God, think God. When you think God, how can anything unlike God come into your thoughts? That's powerful, right? Love is the power behind the law, right? Whether you call it the law of correspondence, the law of attraction, right? The law of vibration, all of that, right? You reap what you sow. But love is the power behind it. So how can it be anything but loving, right? It gives you the free choice to think, feel, and believe what you want. But God doesn't judge any of that as good or bad or right or wrong. So you've got the power, you've got the awesome power, the only power, the power of love behind you and within you and through you, right? Higher divine thoughts create higher divine manifestations. So it's not merely thinking like God, but if you think God in your meditations, then you can't create anything but divine manifestations. Hear this. You can't get it wrong ever, right? Because God is love and has no opposite. It's impossible for thoughts unlike love, right, to survive, right? Because God is love and has no opposite, it's impossible for thoughts unlike love to survive. Thoughts like doubt, fear, and limitation must dissolve in that knowing, must dissolve in that thought of God, right? When you think God, no other thoughts are possible. Hear this, right? Conscious thought controls that greater subconscious medium. So you don't need to be afraid of your subconscious. You don't need to be afraid of what you previously thought, felt, and believed, right? Or what's previously sitting in your subconscious, because you can consciously think God. And as you drop those seeds more and more and you continue to consciously think God, that's what you're going to manifest. You're going to manifest greater manifestations, right? When you put your attention on the perfect seed, the perfect manifestation is the result. Hear this. When you put your thought on the perfect seed, the perfect manifestation is the result, right? Absolute trust and belief in that higher power is all that's required, right? So let's hit this a little bit more. In Isaiah 45:5, I am the Lord and there is no other. There is no other God besides me. And remember, the Lord in the Old Testament always means law, right? And it's capitalized, it means law. There is one infinite mind from which everything is manifested, and you are one with that mind, right? There's only one God. You are one with that God, right? For in him we live and we move and have our being, right? That's from Acts. So every time you think into this one mind, right? Every time you move within it. Every time you say, I am, right? I am, and then condition that, you declare your divinity, right? With whatever you put after that. Therefore, when you think God, there is no higher thought possible, absolutely without limitation of any kind. That's why you should think God. Not just like God, but think God, right? So a meditation, I call this now the Think God meditation, because really what I think is happening is we're imagining our wish fulfilled, but there's also a thought, right? As we're imagining, there's a thought, there's a contrary thought, or there's a contrary feeling of an absence of it, or a lack of it, right? Even as we're imagining it and getting into our wish fulfilled, right? There's still some contradiction there. But if you think God, it's impossible to have a contradiction. God is absolute. So there can be nothing else added to it or taken away from it. There can be nothing else that can get into your mind when you think God. So close your eyes, right? Establish your single-mindedness or single oneness with God. Infinite intelligence, a universal mind. You can use, if you don't feel comfortable with God, use infinite intelligence, a universal mind, or the universe, or whatever you feel comfortable with, right? I am one with God, or all that is, or that divine energy, right? Or source, right? Or my higher being, or my higher self, whatever you want to use. Or God is love. I like to say during these meditations that just to myself that God is love and I am love. That's all I do. It gets me into this place where I feel invincible, this place where no other thoughts that are less than that can get in. Once you do that, move into the alpha state, that 0 point, deep relaxation, that state where you get to 0 point, that I amness, right? Where you're not conditioning anything, right? So first step, reestablish who you are, right? And come up with your own sort of short phrase that resonates with you, that you really feel, and then move into that alpha state, that 0 point. Then think of your desire. And I'm not even saying imagine it. I'm just saying think of your desire, right? Because I don't want you to, this is zero resistance, right? You've imagined it. You've thought about it a lot. So I'm not worried about God. Don't worry about God not having a good image of what you want. God knows by now, right? You've asked and imagined and imagined. God knows. So think of your desire, then surrender it with a simple thank you. Thank you for your gift of love, That's what I like. Or you can use something else, right? But thank you for your gift of love. That gift of love is your desire. It was yours when you desired it, and God gave it to you, and God answered. Before they call, I will answer, right? So, and then rest in that conviction. Rest in that fulfillment. Thank God. That's all. That's what means, that's what I mean, that's what we mean when we rest in fulfillment. You thank God. It's impossible to have other contrary thoughts when you do that. Now, then you just walk in that thinking like God, no matter what comes up in 3D reality, right? This really is how to dissolve all forms of lack and a powerful meditation. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. Hit us up on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful, on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron, our website at tomcaron.com or BeSomethingWonderful.com, or write me and say hello at info@BeSomethingWonderful.com. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, with great love, this is Tom. See you soon.